Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Talks. My name is Michael Bertoni and I'm the founder and CEO of Philly Tech. Again, Tech Talks is dedicated to everybody listening here, entrepreneurs, software companies, technology companies, and their success. So I really appreciate you coming today and looking forward to talking to our guest. So I got a great guest today, guys. So Mark Mowad is the EVP and actually the owner of VoIP Networks, which is right here, right based in Cherry Hill. He said he could basically throw a stone and get to the
Pretty
office.
much.
Right, so it's great. So Mark has over like 20 years of experience in voice over IP, and then if you know kind of the background, PBX systems, right? So I'm really, really excited to interview Mark today and to tell you a quick story. So the girl, what was her name? Catherine, I think, on your team. She reached out, the girl who reached out to me for the Phillies stick. So I met Mark. So VoIP reached out to me, VoIP Networks reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to come to this Phillies game, right? And learn about what we do, right? And so Catherine's their salesperson. And I went to, they took me to a Phillies game. It was phenomenal, great Phillies game, which Mark's going to be talking about that. And we had a great time. And I hit it off with Mark, so thanks a lot for coming, Mark.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. So yeah, so tell the audience a little bit about your background. So how did you get started? You know, what'd you do before VoIP Networks? And why don't you start there?
Sure. So during college, I went to, in college, went to Rutgers in Camden, and I was actually working at UPS.
Nice.
And I was worked out in their international sales department, but I was really into technology at the time.
Right.
So I figured I really wanted to pursue that avenue, and I left there and I worked for a company that sold routers and switches and firewalls, and it was really pretty cool to sell that technology at that time.
Right.
And then I started doing really, really well, and then I ran into my partner, because I'm one of 3 owners of VoIP Networks.
Right.
My son was 1 year old. I was on Wildwood Boardwalk, rolling him down. I run into my friend Chuck Reagan, who I went to grade school, then we went to high school, and we even went to college together. So I know Chuck for a long time. And Chuck said, you know, we're growing our company. We're a voice company. You know, we need someone really to help us out. Yeah. And they were at the time just selling on-premises based phone systems.
Sure.
I said, my God, I don't really have any interest in selling phones. I'm selling this cool stuff, routers and switches and firewalls and professional services, etc. But you know, I gave it a shot, and I never turned back. It was fantastic. So now we're one of Mitel's largest dealers in the United States. We're a powerhouse in the UC and the UCaaS space in our region. We're a nationwide company, and it's been just an incredible ride. This whole voice over IP wave that we're living with right now. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah,
that's great. So in terms of Mark's experience, I mean, over 20 years of experience. So tell us a little bit about, you know, how'd you start? I mean, you told us how you start, but how'd you kick things off? What was it like in the beginning? I mean, there's a lot of people on our show who are entrepreneurs. They have ideas, right? They want to get started with something. So you jumped in, things were going well. So tell us a little bit about that start and what you do. So what do you do at VoIP Networks?
So you nailed it. It's really just jumping ahead of the curve and when you own a tech company, I mean, you have to be 10 steps ahead, or you're just going to be left in the dust. And we were really fortunate. We saw the voice over IP wave hitting us early on. Mm-hmm. And what we did is, actually, it's an interesting story on how we got into it. Mitel was releasing their teleworker application, which basically allowed you to take a phone and plug it into a Comcast or a Verizon Fios connection at your house without really doing any magic.
Right.
You know, the earlier technology, you had to set up these private VPNs, all this programming behind the scenes.
Right.
Mitel did all the programming behind in the background for the text to set up, and then basically the end user just plugs it in. So we looked at that, we said, oh my God, this is pretty revolutionary.
Right.
And what we did is we said, you know what, let's turn let's take this technology and turn it into a voice disaster recovery company. So we were Worldwide Telecom at the time. And same owner, same everything. We just changed our name to reflect where the times have gone,
right.
And where the technology is taking us. So we said, look at this teleworker technology is working so good, and we see a need out in the industry for a voice disaster recovery offering. Like everybody, when you talk to a customer, you talk to the CIOs, CTOs of organizations, ask them about their DR plan. Everyone had a DR plan about how to recover their data. And what have you. We have remote offices, we have SunGuard, we have all these different, Azure, we have whatever the case may be. But we sold a voice disaster recovery service to large organizations based off this telework application.
Yeah.
We found a venture capitalist, gave us a lot of money, we built this incredible portal for people to declare a disaster. So long story short, we built these data centers, and the technology was antiquated, because this is years ago where there wasn't virtualization and what have you. So we had stacks of physical hardware, PBXs, in our data centers, and we're selling basically hosted phone systems before cloud voice even became popular.
Right.
We didn't really understand about regulatory fees and what have you at that time. This is going back 12, 15 years ago. But long story short, at the time, since we were a traditional interconnect. And interconnect, basically, we sold phone systems. I mean, that's my elevator speech. It's a real simple one.
Right.
So we had some large customers and we had some small customers. And the small customers, we were typically selling Toshiba at the time. That was the manufacturer brand we were selling. And the voice guard was doing okay. We didn't hit it out of the park, but what we learned from it is that some of our smaller customers have said, look, my phone system is dying, my voicemail's going, can you help me out? And we said, well, I got this voice guard network. How about if I just give you like 5 phones and I charge you $50 a phone per month? They're like, oh my God, I don't have to buy a PBX, I don't have to do anything?
Yeah.
And that's how it started. So we got into cloud voice before cloud voice became even popular. So we were blessed, we were truly an earlier adopter of that technology. So to answer your question in a long-winded answer is, you really have to try to foresee what's going on, do your research, stay on top of the trends, and just don't be afraid to take the chances. And that next chance that we took is, we saw that the UCaaS space, that wasn't even called UCaaS at the time, but the cloud voice space was really starting to heat up, and we took a chance. We said, you know what, me and my 2 partners, we hunkered down, we bought out the VC, we bought that company, we bought VoiceGuard back, put it under us, and we started our own cloud company from that. So we built our own data centers, we did it from scratch, we're not OEM in anyone else's product. Now Mitel is the engine behind us, that's the software that makes all the magic, and we're blessed because Mitel is doing phenomenal. They keep buying up all their competition right now, and that's helping us with our incredible growth that we're having. So yeah, you got to take chances. You got to not be afraid to make that jump. And we are fortunate because the majority of my competition right now, other people that are interconnects that sell, UC and UCaaS solutions, when it comes to their cloud offering, they don't have their own data centers, and the vast majority don't. They're repping someone else's product, which means they're giving up their customers. They don't have control over the pricing so much as well, and they can't be really as creative. And more importantly, say if they're OEM in someone else's UCaaS solution, and that other provider changes the way they comp them. They want to change the way, what their revenue commissions and what their revenue goals are. You're basically relying 100% on that as a partner. And we swore we wouldn't do that. So we built our own engines, we built our own data centers, and it's been gangbusters since then. We've been really fortunate.
So the audience might not know this, or you might know, obviously we have a really, really big company right in the backyard, right, called Comcast, right? And everybody hears Comcast triple play, quad play, all that, right? So this region, believe it or not, in terms, I know this just from what I've seen with different companies, this region is really huge in terms of networks around voice and around communications. Right? So in terms of what you do, right? So you have, for the audience out there, what is a VoIP system, right? Let's boil it down to basics. What's a VoIP system, right? What's the value? What are the things that you do? I mean, one of the things that I learned that you do that we still have to talk about is, if I use Zoom, right? These guys have a solution for just being able to do WebEx or Zoom or different things like that. There's entry-level things just like that. So tell the audience, What do you guys do at VoIP Networks? Like, what do you actually do in terms of what you're selling to people?
Sure. All right. So the term itself, voice over internet protocol, it's funny because it has different meanings to different people. Mm-hmm. But basically, it's just for the layperson, it's the ability to run your voice traffic over an IP-based network. Mm-hmm. So you can have a voice over IP system just within your own office, right? It's never touching the internet. It's never leaving outside. All we're saying is that the communications part of your business is now running through your category 5 wires. It's running through your data switches. It's not running over a separate network, which typically consisted of a category 3 cabling environment and had your own hardened PBX. So on the premise side, which we're really not selling that much of, even though we still do, and it's not because we're pushing customers either way, it's just that's where the appetite is just cloud computing in all aspects, not just my world, but that's really where our world is going. So what we do is we sell a unified communications or a UCaaS solution to companies. We don't sell residentially. Right. So we don't play really well in the small space, maybe like 10 phones and under, even though we absolutely could do that, and we do. We have plenty of customers doing that. I'm just saying from a price point.
Sure.
Where I think where we really shine is selling to the larger enterprises, 100, 200, 500, 1,000 plus employees.
Right.
And the more complex their network is, and the more complex their requirements are, especially if they have a high-end contact center, if they have Salesforce.com, they need an integration into that. They have a custom CRM solution that they want us to tie their phone system in so that they can, and I'll get into more detail about that. They're looking for a custom IVR solution that ties into, like we have credit unions, banking facilities that our systems tie into their back-end platform so customers can check their balances, the last 5 checks that came out, and actually even move money around. Right. So we're seeing that level of integration is probably where we fit really best. Right. But my elevator story is we sell phone systems. That's what we do. So it's pretty easy.
So everybody, come back in a few minutes because we're going to talk about the competitive advantage that these guys have. These guys, he talked about it a little bit earlier. I heard it, but there's a competitive advantage that specifically they have around voice over IP networks. We're going to talk about customers, and we're going to talk about the future of voice over IP with things like machine learning and artificial intelligence. So come on back to Tech Talks in a few minutes.
Live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write, the ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind the scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me.
Thanks, Liz.
A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And
Hey everyone. Hey everyone, welcome back to Tech Talks. My name again is Michael Bertoni, and I'm the founder and CEO of Philly Tech. And I have with me Mark Mowad, probably in this region, one of the experts when it comes to all voice over IP systems. So what we were talking about before, which I heard Mark talking about it, but he said when he started the company, if you remember that, he said he built some data centers, right? He built some data centers, did some things around that. So now that data center, my understanding, is one of your big competitive advantages in terms of your system today. So explain to the audience what I mean by that. Having a data center, with the voice over IP network software on top of it, what does that mean to companies in terms of a competitive advantage?
Sure. So we're really fortunate. We have 3 data centers right now. We have one in Philadelphia, one in Newark, New Jersey, and then one we're just spinning up right now in the state of Washington right now. Equinix is the provider, if you will, of the cage, of the environment that we have in there. And we are in carrier hotels, meaning so we are in the same buildings where your Verizon, your Comcast, your AT&Ts, all your major tier 1, tier 2, and even tier 3 carriers are. And what we have is what's called an NNI, or a network to network interface. In layman's terms, it's just a cross connect from our equipment right into like the AT&T network, right into Comcast, right into Verizon, right into level 3 Quest Communication. That in itself, who we partnered with, is pretty powerful in itself. And the level of redundancy, the amount of money that we've spent on our redundancies within our data centers and the active that we have within our multiple data centers is definitely a differentiator, because we, being a tech company, that was first and foremost to build that thing ironclad, to make it bulletproof, and making sure that we were in the right facilities, that God forbid if there was any environmental conditions, a Storm Sandy, God forbid. I've heard partners of mine, colleagues of mine that were in other data centers that were affected by that. We're at high elevation. We've done all that right. So
right, and in terms of the competitive advantages it offers, right, it gives probably better performance. In terms of your client, they're on your network, right? So you know what's happening. So better performance. If something happens, they need access, or they want disaster, which is your system goes down and has to come back up. You're managing that. You're helping it. So it's not some other carrier, right? It's you guys.
That's correct. Yeah. And one clarification: CenturyLink, not level 3 turned into CenturyLink.
Okay.
But yes, it is 100% our network. It is 100% our servers. It's 100% owned by VoIP networks, managed by our 24/7 NOC system operating services. So yeah, and that we live and die by the uptime, and we guarantee the 99.9999% uptime on our network at all times.
So in terms of your clients, because I know you're across the whole country, right? And I think you might even be outside the U.S. too. In terms of your clients, I mean, I know you're Phillies. Phillies is a client, right? But who would you say are kind of your top customers? Ones that you can disclose, obviously. And what are the things you're doing for them? What are the different value-added things you're doing for them?
Sure. A couple things. So the Phillies so Mitel is the core solution that we sell to customers, right? So there's Mitel phones, there's Mitel applications, and the Philly Stadium is clearly using the Mitel phones and what have you. They were, I think, a direct sell from Mitel when Mitel was selling direct. That was years ago. But as regards to VoIP customers that we have, I mean, just in this region, in the Philadelphia region, that people would probably be really comfortable with. Philadelphia Zoo, everybody knows the Philadelphia Zoo, the oldest zoo in the country. Right. Was a great customer of ours, very loyal. I could tell you about that story, how we won that job. It's actually a pretty good story. All the Penn Mutuals around the United States, every one of the Penn Mutuals is on our platform. Company used to be called, it's called Acuity right now. They are the largest medical transcription companies in the United States. They're on our platform, over 1,000 plus phones. We have suicide hotlines that are on our platforms, which speaks volumes as well. Police departments, townships, entire townships like the borough of Avalon that are on us. Nice. And many of the township of Plainsboro. So, and lots of schools, believe it or not, a lot of school districts we do. So what I love about my industry is that we don't have to be real specific. Even we do a lot of law firms, but we're not one SIC code specific. So pretty much any industry that needs a communications platform, that's really that's like a perfect customer for us.
That's great. So let's shift gears to the future, right? So we love to talk about the future here of tech, right? And so in terms of just VoIP in general, right? Something's going to change, right? In the future, 5 years, 10 years. Where do you see the future of this industry going, right? What's going to come out in the future, or what's coming out in the future? Because that's all really exciting. Let's talk about that, and let's talk about applications for things like AI and machine learning.
Sure. Right? So a couple things. With the enormous adoption of the cloud right now, and this enormous need for mobility, and not being chained to one location to operate your business, whatever that business is. Teleworking has exploded. More and more companies are embracing their employees to work from home right now. Right. And we've seen an enormous shift when we were selling a traditional communications platform, whether that's in the cloud or in a virtual system, on premise or in a client's data centers, their own data centers. We're finding that the customers are buying less and less physical handsets from the manufacturers. They're using their Droids, they're using their iPhones, they're using the soft phone. And what I like about our solution is we have like a right to use license. That's the easiest way. I mean, that's what it's not called. That's what we call it in our organization. Because if I want to work from 9 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock on my physical phone, great. Okay, but then from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I want to use my laptop because I'm going to be in the conference room. And then from like 11 o'clock, the 12 o'clock, I'm going to be driving. I want to be on my mobile phone. And then when I go home, I like to sit down in front and watch a Netflix movie. I want to be on my iPad, but I still want to be connected to me on communication. So we have options to where you're going to be logging in to whatever device makes more sense for you at that particular time. So you're always connected. Some people hate that because you're never not connected, but you can choose whether you log on or log off. Right. So we're seeing less and less of the physical equipment, if you will, from like a handset perspective, and people are just using more of the mobile applications just to deliver their business from that aspect. And then AI is clearly a game changer, clearly revolutionizing our industry, and we're seeing it right now. And again, because Mitel is the engine behind us, that's the software that runs in our data centers. Mitel built this incredible partnership with Google. And Google is by far leading the AI front right now with technology. And you're going to see, and it's actually out there right now with machine learning, you're going to see that your contact centers are going to be much more automated than they are right now. I mean, everyone's familiar when you call into a company, you hear an IVR. Thank you for calling, press 1 for this, press 2 for that. Well, now with machine learning, with the advancements of AI even today, you can ask the customers certain questions. If you want directions, the AI bot can respond to that. If you have frequently asked questions, the AI bot can answer those kind of questions. Right. And the technology is there today to where the bot is doing a lot of the heavy lift and answering some of those, basic type questions. And then if the caller is asking the bot, and by the way, the bot doesn't sound like a bot. It sounds like either a woman's voice or a man's voice, and I mean, it's almost impossible to even tell the difference. That's how powerful the technology's come. So when the bot gets to a certain spot where they can't help the customer anymore, they just don't know.
Right.
They'll transfer the call to a live agent. But the scary part is the bot is on the call still in a listen-only mode and learning.
Sure.
So it's amazing. Sure. And so the next time the bot gets the next call and they heard a response from the live person, they know how to answer that. So that's here. It's actually right here, right now. We're designing systems around that.
Yeah, so the other thing I know, and I'm sure you're probably doing this, is think about it for a second, guys. If you had all of your voice communications on one network, everything, that's all data, right? In terms of, you're gonna be able to pick up when a customer feels upset, right? You might be able to do that today, right? So I know the technology is out there where you're gonna be able to hear a customer saying something or talking a certain way inflection-wise, and you're gonna be able to act accordingly. I don't know if you're doing that now. I was just curious because I had a customer years ago that was doing this with their call centers, right? So they were literally had this over top of their call centers, and they were making decisions based on, what the customers were actually saying, right? So I don't know if you're doing any of that with AI right now, but I know it's out there. It's probably possible.
It's 100% out there. We're not releasing that level of it yet. We're doing the part that I just mentioned right now, but clearly next phases of AI are going to be, it's going to be exactly that. It's just going to keep getting more sophisticated, more intelligent, and you're going to need less and less personnel to maybe handle some of the front end type of calls that most contact centers are used to. It's not going to eliminate, at least at this point in time, I don't see any time soon, of an entire contact center, because you're still going to need some human intelligence for more complex related questions and things of that nature. So.
Yeah, so what I'm curious actually to understand is what's the smallest device that you're talking to? Like, again, you could talk to a watch today. Are people on your network, like, what's the smallest form factor? I'm just curious and
it's probably the watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, because I have a Samsung watch and it integrates with my phone and everything.
Right.
So that's it. But we're still seeing just a lot of people just using their iPhones and their Androids right now. There's also a really big push for the IoT, the Internet of Things, and smart devices. You see it right now with your thermostat you can control with your phone right now.
Right.
There's all sorts of sensors you can put. There's a customer, an equal customer with that we know of that they're a pest company. They deal with rats and what have you.
Right.
They actually used IoT, put little sensors in these traps, so instead of the person coming out 2-3 times a week looking to replace a trap, when the trap goes off, it sends a signal to the Mitel system, then triggers the responses that way. So we're going to see more and more of that type of technology integrating with the Internet of Things happening as well too.
That's great. So Mark, tell the audience where they could find you, right? Either your website with VoIP Networks, if you're a big Twitter guy, LinkedIn guy, tell the audience.
Yeah, so no, we're on all the most social media sites right now. We had a nice LinkedIn plug right now. We just built this partnership with Wesley Clover. It's actually a pretty good one, I should mention. Wesley Clover is an organization, a very, very successful company. They have many different divisions, but the one division they have is they sell Terrat phones. So if you're a financial institution, you're a brokerage house. Now a broker doesn't use a traditional phone. They use these Terrat phones. They're two-handed phones,
right?
So they're on phones all the time. So we built a partnership with them, and we're literally now we're the first cloud-based provider of Terrat phones working in conjunction with Wesley Clover. So we're attacking the New York market with it right now.
Nice.
So so I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, on Twitter, VoIPnetworks.com, VoIPnetworks.com is how you reach us. We have a toll-free number on there as well. So we're pretty easily accessible.
Great. So again, Mark, it's been awesome having you here.
It's great.
And definitely, guys, come back next week. Tech Talks is every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. And make sure you come back. Thanks.
Thanks,
Mark.
Thank you.
See ya.